Hey fungi friends, I've got a friend coming over tonight who's vegan, and I figured I would make some lobster mushroom rolls that are vegan. So I've got these beautiful big lobster mushrooms that I picked up in Humboldt last weekend. They are super fresh, super crispy, delicious. They don't really taste like lobster, but I'm going to kind of use some things and show you my tricks to make it taste a little bit more like seafood. It has a really good, solid texture. You can hear that from these big taps. This is an absolutely massive one, but I cooked up some of my other ones down here, and I'll show you guys kind of what this looks like and how this is all going to come together. This is going to be pretty quick because I've already kind of cooked the mushrooms and I cooled them down because I didn't want hot mushrooms melting all my mayonnaise. And I'm going to make it vegan by using like a vegan mayo. You could clearly do this, non-vegan, but I got a vegan friend here, so we're gonna do it so she can eat it. And I'm gonna kind of play around with a few extra flavor components here to bump up that seafood flavor. The first thing I think I'm gonna do is just bisect these rolls. Do this carefully so I don't cut myself on live. That would be embarrassing. Just gonna cut them in half, and I'm using kind of bigger rolls because this is dinner. I wanted a slightly more substantial roll, so I'm gonna cut these. Just toast them for a second, and I'll show you guys how I'm gonna bring together this sort of quote-unquote lobster filling. And people talk a lot about lobster mushrooms and them tasting like lobster. I think that's mostly sort of a made-up thing. They don't really taste like seafood, and if they do, they can occasionally smell a little fishy. But if they smell fishy, that's just a sign that your lobster mushrooms are too old. If you're picking lobster mushrooms that smell really fishy, they are too old. You probably should not pick those. But they do cook up real nice like pretty meaty texture. They're very, very solid, almost crispy. And I'm gonna go ahead and just chop up a couple of tomatoes. I have some finely diced shallot here, so I'm going to add the shallot into my mushroom. I'm going to add probably a couple of really big, generous scoops of vegan mayo. Vegan mayo is great because it's basically just mayo. The only, it doesn't have eggs in it, but they use soy lecithin, which is just a protein that acts as an emulsifier. And as with any good sort of mayonnaise-based salad, more mayonnaise is always better. It's just going to taste better that way. Fat is flavor, and the mayonnaise is how we're dispersing that flavor all around here, turning this into something really, really good and tasty. Okay, so we got a nice mayonnaise mixture there. I'm gonna add some fresh cherry tomatoes for a little bit of umami and zing. Open up a beer. Cheers, too. Man, I flew back from Alaska this morning. It was like a red-eye flight. I am beat. I took a long nap, but I am still not recovered from flying all night. And it was quite the ordeal, but it was very much worth going to the wedding, and it was really fun to be in Alaska and check out some of that habitat. So I'm just chopping up a little bit of shizo and basil here. I'm going to put that in. Classic for lobster rolls is tarragon, but I don't have any tarragon. And I have lots of shizo and basil, so I'm going to put that in. I don't want to overwhelm it with herb flavor, so I'm only putting in a little bit. And I really want to let these kind of lobster mushrooms shine through, so I'm trying to not put too much other stuff in. But I'll show you guys, I do have a few kind of secret ingredients here. They're not secret, I'm going to tell you what they are, but I have a few special ingredients where I'm going to try to help the lobster mushroom taste a little bit more like seafood. Because inherently it doesn't taste that much like seafood, and I want to make this have a real kind of essence of the ocean type thing, so it'll conjure that lobster roll feeling, I guess. I mean, the other thing that I'm not doing is I'm not coating everything in butter, which is another hallmark of good lobster rolls back on the East Coast, but I wish I had some vegan butter. Then I would smother my buns in vegan butter. But if you guys do this at home, you can do that. So, okay, grab something to clean up my board here real quick. Sure. Okay. So, just trying to keep everything nice and tidy, doing our mise en place here. Okay. So I There's tomatoes. There's my big ass lobster mushroom. Okay, so I have some wakame seaweed, and I rehydrated this. This is most often Americans will see this in like miso soup. This is kind of wakame you see in miso soup. So I rehydrated my wakame, and I put the liquid from the wakame into the lobster mushrooms as they were cooking and reduced it down. So that gave them sort of a nice salty seaweed character. And I'm going to put some wakame in. Again, I don't want to like overwhelm the lobster mushrooms, so I'm just putting a little bit in for some extra texture. And I'm going to kind of see how this looks. I think ultimately more mayonnaise is always a good idea. So I'm going to put a little more mayonnaise here. I'm not going to be shy. We're eating vegan, right? That's healthy. I get more mayonnaise. So here goes my lobster mushroom with my wakame and my herbs and some tomatoes. I'm making a really nice filling here. Okay, great. And then I want to add a little bit of extra seafood flavor and texture too. So I'm going to go with some sesame seeds. I'll just sprinkle these on because they'll add some nice texture and a little extra nutritional boost from sesame seeds. Really good for you. And I've got some furikake. So this is basically sesame seaweed seasoning, rice seasoning, but it's got some seaweed flakes in it. So I'm going to, again, just using seaweed to recapitulate that flavor of the ocean. And the other thing I've got is just a little bit of a lacto hot sauce that I made. And this stuff's pretty spicy, so I'm going to just put a very small little dollop of that in. And hopefully that'll make things interesting as we go here. So boom, there's our filling. And I'll show you guys how this comes together here in just a second. Grab one of my loaves out, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the loaf. I'm going to put in a big piece of shizo in it, and then I'm going to put my topping on top of that, and then I have one more extra finished thing to show you guys. Ooh, that's hot. Okay, let's take this out. Ooh, that's a warm little roll. Ooh, it's hot. That's what you get for live cooking. Be patient. Have a sip of beer. Don't burn yourself. Oh yeah. So I mean, you could do this approach with literally any mushroom. I'm using the lobster mushroom, because it kind of plays up that whole lobster roll thing. But you could very easily do this with, agaricus bisporus you buy at the store. It's like making a chicken salad or something like that. You cook some protein, you cover it in mayonnaise, put some herbs and spices, maybe a couple of the little veg things in there, smack it in a roll. It's going to be good. It's hard to go wrong with this kind of thing, guys. So I got my nice pillowy bread here. Oh yes. And I'm going to spoon in some of my lobster roll mixture. A couple of nice big spoonfuls. I'm cooking for 2 others tonight, so I'm not going to use this all. But get a nice healthy dose of this. So I've got my tomatoes and my lobster mushrooms and my wakame and my herbs. All this really good stuff. And then our house guest who's been staying here got some truffle chips. So just to be extra, I'm going to take a couple of her truffle chips and crumble these on top for a little extra texture. So this is kind of, potato chips and lobster rolls are a very classic combination. And I figured playing up the mushroom thing by adding the truffle chips might be kind of fun. So boom, there you have it. Here's a vegan lobster roll full of lots of good mushrooms and other good things. I'll take a big bite for you. Oh god, that's so killer. The mushroom has really good texture. The herb flavors coming through. Got a nice hint of seaweed and that seafood flavor. So it really does kind of taste like a lobster roll. But here we go. Big old lobster mushroom vegan lobster rolls. Really cool. So I'm excited to cook this big one. I've been holding off on doing something with this, but you'll see this cooked the next day or two. Yeah, it's really good. Wow. I can eat this entire thing right now. But I'll wait until my dinner guests come back. So, killer dish, super easy, Comes together in a couple minutes. You guys can do it too. Sorry, I should have finished chewing before I got to talking. If you want to learn more from me, as always, check out my website, fascinatedbyfungi.com. I've got cool original t-shirt designs. I have an About Me page. I have an FAQ page where I answer all your questions about what resources, what websites do I use. I've got a mushroom discount page. You can save money on mushroom kits and a knife you see me using, coffee, supplements, all sorts of stuff, so check that out. Please follow me on YouTube. Check me out on Twitter and Pinterest and every social media platform I can think of I am on. But as always, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for listening to me, and send you guys much love and hopefully many tasty mushroom dishes in the future. Bye!